Okay, this is car problems. This is a 2014 Dodge. No, I'm sorry, it's a Chrysler Town & Country. It's got 110,000 miles on it. We're cruising along here with 77 psi of oil pressure. If you just give it a little gas, you'll see it hit up to 90 psi. So this car should be, when it's cruising along slow like this, somewhere around 36 to 40 psi. At higher RPMs, it should go up to 70, 80 psi. The problem is it's idling around 74 to 77 psi. And prior to this, we had an engine light. The engine light said P06dd, which is oh, I take that back. Yeah, that's the I'm trying to think what that was. P06dd, that's the oil pump. We had an oil pump issue, and said that we need to replace the oil pump. It's a variable oil pump, but really what it is I had put some what was it, I think it's 25,000 mile Mobil 1, guaranteed to last, synthetic. Well, it only lasted like 10,000 miles, and it turned to kind of a sludge. It just got real thick, especially with this colder weather we're having. It's 34 degrees today. I replaced the filter in the oil, and I'm now letting the engine get warmed up. It's not quite at operating temperature, but now we're cruising along, and it's dropped down to 70. So I figure after this new oil runs through this motor, and especially through the oil pressure sending unit, which I have already replaced once in this not so old car. I replaced it a couple years ago because it was reading 120 psi or 110 psi. It was ridiculous, and it was throwing an engine light for high oil pressure. I put a new sending sensor in, and next thing you know, it was running normal psi. This thing a couple times has jumped up high like this, and eventually it just works its way out, goes back to normal. Right now I'm testing to see if I get this car up to operating temperature, if the oil pressure will drop. And what you're witnessing here is we went from it being at 81 psi at idle. Now we're just a hair above idle, and it's down to 65, 61 psi. So I will continue to drive this vehicle and see if in park, if we can't get this thing somewhere around 40, or between 35 and 40 psi. Like I said, the computer controls the vanes in the oil pump, which dictates what your oil pressure is going to be. So I'm just trying to see if I have a faulty oil pressure sending unit again. Maybe it's clogged up with that Mobil 1, or this will just clean it out and I won't have to replace it. It wasn't that easy to get to. It was quite the pain in the butt, and I really don't want to have to do it again. Not to mention that sensor was not cheap, and anyone that works on Chrysler will tell you, Dodge, Chrysler, all of them, you do not buy aftermarket sensors. You may be thinking you're saving 20 bucks or whatnot, but for whatever reason, they do not register like the OEM. I had a 2006, I think it was a Dodge 350, 3500, and that truck ran like crap. got like 10 miles to the gallon, had the Hemi in it, and I replaced the cam positioning sensor and the O2 sensors with Dodge. They had Bosch, and I swapped those out for the Dodge ones. I went from getting 10 miles to the gallon to averaging 16 miles to the gallon in that truck. And what alerted me to it was that I kept getting an engine code for the O2 sensor. So I finally had enough of buying the cheap ones, and I bought the $100 O2 sensor from Dodge, stuck it in there, and it worked great. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over right here and see what this thing drops down to. There we are, 30 PSI. That's good. Give it a little gas, it goes up, comes back down, goes up. Yeah, it's not hitting 100, it's only going up to 70. Good. So there we have it, folks. Managed to clean the sensor out. We got our 30 PSI. I thought it would have been more around 35, but 30 is good at idle. If I'm just cruising here at about 1,000 RPMs, I'm still getting pretty good. 60 PSI. I went nothing to shake a stick at. 70. At least it's not going up to 100. That's normal for this vehicle. Alright, so if you get that engine code where it's P06dd, that is your, telling you that you need an oil pump. Try doing an oil change. Make sure you're running the correct oil in this vehicle. It came with a blend, synthetic blend. It's, I live in New England and I still use 5W20. And I got over 100,000 miles. I don't have any smoke issues. It doesn't eat oil. This car, all in all, has been a great vehicle. I'm not really a big fan of Chrysler. I was a little scared about buying this minivan, but I will tell you, I like the features better than what the Toyota had and the Honda. And I've been very happy with the stow and go, the performance of this van, the way it rides, everything's worked in this van. Very minimal issues, if any. And like I said, it's just been this oil sending unit. So that's my story. Hopefully this can help others out there. Take care and have a good day.